And now, the LSU Football Fix with Preston Guy, presented by TigerBait, starts now.
And welcome to your LSU Football Fix presented by Celebrity Theaters. Join with me as always each and every Monday at night at 8 p.m. on the TigerBait YouTube and Facebook channel is Zack, publisher at Sports Illustrated's LSU Country. I hope you all had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year later this week. This will be our final live show of the 2025 season, although Mike, Buddy, will be here. I say 2025 calendar year. We will be back next Monday, of course. Mike and Buddy will be here New Year's Eve at 6 p.m. doing their thing. Zach, how was your first Christmas as an engaged man?
It was good. It was good. There's a lot of moving around. Her family lives over there in Slidell and stuff, so a lot of moving parts on this end, but good stuff. We have now a little baby golden retriever at the house.
What?
Little baby, 9 weeks old. So we got a little kid of our own when it comes to this little baby. But it's good, man. It was a good holiday, good Christmas Eve, getting ready for, of course, New Year's Eve, and then gearing up for portal season. We got a lot to talk about here, kind of hitting on a couple different portal targets and potential guys leading into that January 2nd date. So excited to talk about it, but a good holiday season over here on this end.
You know, my advice would have been to wait right after the wedding to get the dog, because here's the deal. You get married and it starts to feel a little bit too much like dating. And most of the time you want to wait a few years before you have any actual kids. Get a puppy. Feels like all of a sudden marriage is something different. So I hope you're prepared to get a second puppy once you get married, because you're going to want something to make it feel different. Little housekeeping items before we roll too fast into this. We missed last week's show. I had uveitis, swollen throat. It was rough. The main thing was I couldn't speak, which makes hosting a podcast for an hour where all you do is talk nonstop a difficult thing to do. So I think it's going to work out well, though, because last week was kind of a slow news item week. And now we're going to get to add an extra show. And what I'm going to do is, so January 2nd, that's Friday. That's when the portal opens up. I'm going to keep it flexible and open. I don't have an exact time, but I think I'm going to try to launch an impromptu live show when LSU gets a big portal edition, which, by the way, is almost guaranteed to have some sort of major portal edition, because LSU needs a quarterback, an entire offensive line. I mean, it's just some major work needs to be done to get this team up to where it can compete. So we're going to wait and see when that happens. It could be first week, second week, whatever. Basically, when I know who LSU's starting quarterback in the portal is, we'll go live. Or maybe a big name or two else, like a big running back with 1,500 yards or something like that. We'll go live there. So guys, make sure to hit like on tonight's show. Hit that bell to subscribe for live notifications, since it is going to be an impromptu show. You're not going to want to miss it if we go live and do stuff. So rundown for tonight's show. It's going to be a simple one, guys. It's going to be simple. I do have a rant. I'm going to lead off with a rant tonight. I have a message for my Ole Miss brethren who seem to be very confused as to what is going down with the Lane Kiffin situation. LSU loses to Houston. We'll talk about the game. I don't think we want to rehash that too much, because a lot of our frustrations from all season kind of continued going, and I think most people are very ready to move on to the Lane Kiffin era. We're going to talk about current roster, and we're going to talk about portal needs. And, you know, tonight's going to be a name that player night. If you got a play, you ever just hang out with the boys, you're drinking a cold one, and you're just like, man, what about George Kittle? That's a guy. And you're just naming names. You're muted, Zach. Am I muted? Oh, man, I cannot hear a thing he's saying. This sucks. Chat, can you hear Zack Nagy? Let's see, hold on. Try again. Man, I hope I'm not losing my audio here. Okay, yeah, no, chat's saying they can't hear Zack. So that's good. We'll get Zack. We'll get him removed. He'll restart and get back up. Let's see here. Before I go into my rant, here's what I'm going to do. Zach, are you back?
Should be.
All right, I hear you. You sound wonderful. Let me turn my volume down because I turned it up so I could hear you, and now you're completely wrecking my ears. But I can't see you, so we'll let you work on that while I talk about Celebrity Theaters, guys. Guys, they are Louisiana's only locally owned and operated theater with locations in Baton Rouge and Ruston. Guys, because they're Louisiana's only locally owned and operated theater, you're guaranteed to see a few things like a clean facility, better pricing, superior customer service, state-of-the-art technology. The Baton Rouge location has an invigorating arcade with over 50 games. It's the largest in town. They also have a bar featuring beer, wine, frozen drinks, oversized leather reclining seats in every theater, and of course the Dolby Atmos 3D sound system. It is the largest screen in Baton Rouge. They do weekly promotions to make it more affordable. Senior savings on Monday, bargain Tuesday. Wednesday is college night and half off arcades, and Thursday is the Thirsty Thursday at the Baton Rouge location. Guys, they do special events, corporate party, birthday party, whatever they've got. Events at celebritytheaters.com to give that a try. All right. Well, let me maybe pull this picture off here, huh? Okay, so
before you do that, how we sound on this end? We sounding better?
Oh, yeah, you sound great. Sound great to me. Chat, let me know if you sound good. But I am going to rip one off real quick. To the Ole Miss media and fans running with this Lane Kiffin abandoned a playoff run narrative, stop your whining. He accepted a better job for next season, for the 2026 season. Guys, Ole Miss sent him packing for this playoff run. Not Lane. Lane Kiffin, he did everything in his power to keep on coaching this team through the playoffs, short of not accepting a once-in-a-lifetime job offer, which, by the way, from my understanding, those are Lane Kiffin's words, not mine. Like, Lane Kiffin's the one calling this the number one job in America, okay? And I've also heard behind the scenes the way he talked about that LSU job for years. That's Lane saying that. He bailed on the 2026 Rebels, not the 2025 Rebels. Ole Miss told him, either sign the extension with Ole Miss or we're forcing you out for the playoffs. If you're going to have the stones to make a ballsy decision like that, stand by it. Stop playing victim. Just say you're mad he took a better job. Just say you're mad he roped you along for too long. Just say you're mad he's going to come after Ole Miss players. Just say you're mad he's coaching a rival. But don't be disingenuous and act like he ditched this team in the middle of a playoff run, because that is patently false. We work in an opinionated industry, guys, but one where the truth should still matter first and foremost, and that's the truth. I'm not here to defend Lane Kiffin because he's LSU's coach. I could give a shit less if the guy is considered great, good. I just care about the truth and the facts. So the truth and facts are, frame it however you want, whatever context you want. But the fact of the matter is, Ole Miss would not allow Lane Kiffin to coach in the playoffs this year unless he signed the extension they offered. That is a fact. That is not my opinion. You can say that's the right or obvious thing to do all you want. That's fine. I'm not debating. You're entitled to your opinion on whether that's the right or wrong move. I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm just telling you, the narrative that he bailed on the team is disingenuous at best and at worst an outright lie. By the way, Oregon lost both its coordinators. Tulane, John Sumrall to Florida. Colin Klein, OC at Texas A&M, he took a new job. James Madison's coach took the UCLA job. All of these coaches were allowed to coach their team in the playoffs. Lane Kiffin allowed Frank Wilson to coach on the bowl game that we saw earlier this weekend, despite accepting the Ole Miss job. Oh, and by the way, Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss allowed the entire offensive staff to coach Ole Miss in the playoffs. So, in closing, my argument here is, if you're gonna be the only team in the country to say you can't coach for the playoffs, If you're going to have the stones to kick a guy out the door who built a playoff run and took him there, that's fine. Stand by it and stop playing victim. You sound ridiculous. My God, especially these media folk, these professional reporters. Oh, what a snake. Okay, call him a snake for his antics. Call him a snake for the way he handled it. Call him a snake for the way he dragged it out. Call him a snake for taking the LSU job. That's fine. But stop with the disingenuous bullcrap. Oh, he left this play. Well, he could have stayed if he decided to coach the team next year. Yeah, you forced him to say he didn't want to sign this. He didn't want to coach you next year. He wanted to leave for LSU, but he didn't want to abandon his team in the middle. Stop adding that on top of the litany of issues you have on him, because that's not part of the problem. He didn't abandon this team. Not this 2025 team.
I'm on both sides of this. Obviously, I do Ole Miss stuff with LSU. So I sit back and I look like a hypocrite 24/7 because, on one side I have to say LSU won, the other I have to say Ole Miss won.
Right.
It's a tough game to play. I'll tell you that much. But to your point, Ole Miss is definitely missing Lane. And Blake with AYS made a really good point the other day. I mean, this is a guy who Lane generates clicks, and the Ole Miss media wants the guy who is going to be generating the clicks. And it's not rocket science that Lane Kiffin's going to generate more clicks than Pete Golding. Like I said, I do both sides. I cover a little bit for Ole Miss, of course, and then LSU is my primary beat.
So you're double dipping on Lane, is what you're saying.
So I absolutely understand kind of the media outrage on it. But there are always going to be people who are spinning it in different ways.
Sure.
And I've seen you be getting into it with a couple different people on social media. And it's awesome. I think it's awesome seeing both sides kind of collaborate and do what they can on that. But to your point, yeah, I think definitely not just Ole Miss media. I'm not going to talk about the media aspect, but from a fan base perspective, my goodness, it's brutal. It's brutal to watch. They are definitely hurting a little bit. And man, you're in the college football playoff. It's a better season than LSU. You're in the midst of going to the Sugar Bowl, game away from making it to the college football playoff semis, and they're sitting here talking a lot about Lane Kiffin. So it's interesting the way that it's going down, but nonetheless, if you haven't checked it out yet, obviously go check out PGuy77 on Twitter or X. My goodness gracious,
not the Twitter plug for me.
Yeah,
no,
going absolutely crazy on these people, and some of it's pretty justified. So. It's been a pretty.
I will give this. Okay, I did tweet out today that I miss Notre Dame fans beef because Notre Dame fans are just very different from Ole Miss fans.
No.
And Ole Miss fans are very much so like, screw you, Preston, you're fat. You know what I mean? Like there was a few of those with the Notre Dame fans, but theirs were very much so. And attacking, you should be attacking any reporter who comes out and has takes that are not positive about your school or media. That's how you should be handling it. But they're very visceral and not very like intellectually honest with the debate. And even the reporter I'm been beefing with, he's like saying, I don't know what I'm talking about. Then I state a fact. And he's like, but he could have stayed. Yeah, I know, buddy. I already said in short of not accepting the LSU job. Like, it's just, it's silliness. And it's like, ultimately at the end of the day, the fact is Ole Miss was not going to let him coach without signing an extension. And if you don't say that's true, you're either uninformed or lying. So, because that's the case, it's exactly what went down. And I think more so than protecting LSU or Lane Kiffin, because I think if I'm going to sit here and try to like convince the country that Lane Kiffin's this good, great, mature guy, I think I'm gonna have a losing battle on that regard. And I really don't care. Here's one of the things I've learned being in media as long as I have, particularly being on LSU's beat as long as I have. Coaches come and go, and guess what? Preston's going to be here before, and Preston's going to be here after.
It's a fair point. I mean, look, we're in the middle of just a whirlwind right now. You have all these guys who are just talking. I'm not going to say a bad word. I'll keep it PG. Just talking bad.
We agreed. We did agree for the PG rating. We get 3 good curse words, but not like vulgar, horrible. Just like well-timed good ones. We're going to keep the PG rating, though. So don't put your kids to bed, folks.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm not going to say anything too bad. I'm just going to say, you got a lot of Ole Miss people who are talking bad, and you have a lot of LSU people who are talking bad. It's bad blood. And that's going to be this new rivalry that's just budding right now. I mean, when you have 18 staff members that have been passed around over the last month, 13 on the LSU side, 5 on the Ole Miss side.
That's before counting players, by the way.
Exactly. So
how many players? There's going to be 30 plus guys who were on the opposite side.
Exactly. When we're talking strictly personnel members, you have 18 that have been passed around between both programs at this point right now. And this doesn't even factor in, obviously, the roster turnover that we're going to see over the next couple of weeks, which we'll get into because portal season has officially arrived. I mean, we're 72-ish hours out from it. So for the most part, there's going to be even more. It's going to be over 30 probably personnel and roster pieces that are being passed around here. So it's only going to get worse. You're going to see even more of kind of a rivalry brewing. You're going to see more social media buzz. You'll see P Guy 77 talking a lot of crap, even more on socials. It's going to get even more fun. There's one of my 3 bad words of the day. So it's going to be exciting. This is that new kind of rivalry. And I'm not going to say the Alabama rivalry is dead because it's not dead. That's a horrible take. But I think Ole Miss is going to be one that is going to take over this.
But don't you think the Alabama rivalry, and there's been some facets in that rivalry where maybe you're kind of letting off the gas a little bit on that rivalry?
Yeah. I mean, I think so. I would definitely agree with that. For me,
I'm not going to call it not a rivalry. I think you're insane to say that.
Yeah, it's going to be. It is the rivalry. Obviously, LSU Bama will forever be that. But tell you what, during the back end of these 2020s, right now, I certainly think that LSU and Ole Miss is going to be the kind of the buzz over these next couple of years. I can't wait to see how it unfolds, especially come September 19th over there at Vaught-Hemingway Stadium.
Me and Mike are going, man, and I'm so excited. All right. There were LSU fans like mocking Ole Miss fans for saying that this is a rivalry. Like, okay. One of the things worth pointing out, all those coaches I named, none of them were leaving for like an arch nemesis rival type, right? And that is a big difference. And that's why I say the context you want, because it is a fair context to throw out there, right? It's that LSU is a direct rival. I'm not saying it's right or wrong to have sent Lane Kiffin packing. I actually want to reserve my decision until there's more precedent, because I don't like making comments on what athletic directors and LSU and athletic administrators who are infinitely more qualified to make these decisions than me. I don't like critiquing it when there is no precedent. You know what I mean? So that's why I've intentionally reserved my opinion as to whether it's right or wrong. But the point being here is LSU is going to be a big rivalry. First off, Ole Miss has their Nick Saban. Y'all remember how much you hated Nick Saban for 17 years because he was your guy who lifted a championship trophy for you, took your program to the pinnacle. That's what Lane Kiffin effectively did. Had the most successful tenure of Ole Miss's of most of these fans' lifetimes, right? They're the closest to winning a championship literally right now that they've been probably for anybody who's there alive, right? And now he's at an arch nemesis. You're going to have to play and coach against him every year. Yes. And by the way, in this NIL era, Ole Miss is set up to compete and contend. More so than Mississippi State. So yeah, Mississippi State's going to be like their historic arch nemesis, but Ole Miss and LSU's program, where they're at from a resource standpoint, are much closer to one another than Mississippi State and Ole Miss. Ole Miss should dominate that series. And I think Levy's a good coach, but Mississippi State's just not on a point where they're set to contend at the level Ole Miss is set to contend.
I'm right there with you, first of all, Preston. I think kind of when you look at what they've done from an NIL perspective, I'm not going to say that Billy Glasscock had the opportunity to kind of reap the benefits of what Austin Thomas did as the GM before he came to LSU, but I really do think that Austin Thomas did some really good things over there. Billy Glasscock had the opportunity to carry the torch, and then now Austin Thomas is back over there in Oxford, and he's going to continue to rebuild their NIL over there and continue to make them strong from a funding perspective to rebuild these kind of rosters. So I think that they're in a really good spot, like you said, and I think it's only going to get better with Austin Thomas back over there. And of course, all the other personnel members that they have too, man, they're strong in Oxford.
Austin Thomas built the formula that almost every GM in the country is mimicking, okay, including Billy Glasscock. And by the way, the formula's in place, and he also left the formula at LSU. Billy Glasscock's going to do just what he did at Ole Miss, and pick up the pieces that Austin Thomas left. I mean, look, I'm not going to say a single negative thing about Austin Thomas. I think he's a great GM, everything I've heard. Great guy, good person. I've had a few interactions. He's a real genuine, nice, like he's the kind of, and this is rare from an LSU, he'll like reach out to you and, say nice things about your family, good, great guy. So, anyways, I also am not of the boat that Frank Wilson's going to make Ole Miss any worse. I'm sitting here and telling you that, yes, his running back rotation drives me nuts. Yes, Harlem Berry and his 3 carries and none after a fumble in that bowl game drove me nuts. But Frank Wilson is still an elite recruiter with elite connections and ties in the South, in Louisiana and New Orleans. He still developed some elite backs. I don't think he's making Ole Miss worse as a program. So anyways, yes, the LSU Ole Miss rivalry, it's rivalry with a capital R at this point. And by the way, that's good for LSU. It's good for the sport. If Ole Miss were to start taking LSU more seriously as a rival than Mississippi State, that would be the first time LSU was anybody's number one rival. Maybe Arkansas. Yeah, LSU was Arkansas's number one rival, but LSU wasn't for a second going to take Arkansas as a serious rival. So, yes, that's a good thing. I'm on the Ole Miss side on that, by the way, because a lot of LSU fans are still wanting to call Ole Miss little brother, and I'm like, no. This is a program you got to take seriously. All right, let's get to some of your comments because tonight's going to be a lot of comments. Preston, please give us a grade on Dylan Carpenter's play in the bowl game. I thought he could have done a little bit better with his pass rush. I think he shows a lot of physical tools. I think he's a guy you want to keep. By the way, I highlighted, y'all have heard me say the 3 guys that you must keep, right? Harlem Berry, Trades Green, and DJ Pickett. There's wants, and he's a want. You want to keep him back. You want Braylon Moore to come back. Whit Weeks is a big want, but I don't really put that, like, I'm talking about portal guys, right? I'm talking about guys who will be playing college football next year. If Whit Weeks decides he wants to go to the NFL, that is what it is, Yeah, let's see here. Esteban, what's up, buddy? Ready for the portal to open and see how this new offense is going to look? Aren't we all? He also says the show was looking like 2025 LSU tonight. Ouch. Remember when we were saying names? I meant like portal names, but this is pretty funny. Man, Anthony Johnson and Ego Ferguson. Remember those duo at defensive tackle? Zach, you were kind of young. Are you? I'm
a baby.
Yeah, those guys were so hyped. Anthony is my age. Anthony Johnson. We had the same class coming out of high school. Yeah, Freak Johnson. They were good, but they did not live up to the expectation. That 2013 defense was obviously a big disappointment. But boy, talk about two guys who were only not good when measured against their own hype, right? Southern Agrarian. I wanted Lane 4 years ago. This is something, and I actually did try to go through without looking through every freaking minute of the shows I did, but I remember on either my first or second show after Brian Kelly got fired, I said this: I have a sneaky feeling this coaching search begins and ends with Lane Kiffin. You go back and look at the names who were mentioned in previous coaching searches and how many of those names that came up have like fell off the wagon since then, right? Like how many of them have either been fired, like Lincoln Riley. Think about how much his stock has dropped off, although he did have a decent rebound season this year, but his name fell off. His stock fell off a cliff. Think about like Mel Tucker, think about God. I know, right? I mean, there's so many guys. Think about Tom Herman. Dave Aranda was a candidate 4 years ago. It's a miracle he's held on to that Baylor job. So my point was that Lane Kiffin was a name mentioned as a black horse candidate in 2016 when he was the OC at Bama, right? There were people who literally were calling into Feinbaum and local radio shows, hey, Ed Orgeron is an underling to Lane Kiffin, and he doesn't know ball nearly as well as Lane Kiffin. And you're talking about hiring him. Why not just hire Lane Kiffin? And it was a valid point. So he was mentioned 9 years ago. He was mentioned 4 years ago, and he was mentioning this. It's tough to have the kind of staying power in college football where for 3 different job searches you're mentioned. And I think that speaks to a healthy body of work is what I'm getting at. All right, here we talked about name that name. Praying the Harlem Berry Ole Miss news isn't true. Guys, if you want Harlem Berry updates, there's no better website to subscribe to than TigerBait.com. I will tell you this. I saw a lot of fake news, and Lane Kiffin's trolling it today for a reason. You think Lane Kiffin?
Hilarious, dude. He is so.
Oh, he's an enigma. It's going to take so long to get used to his style on social media. Lane Kiffin runs his social media like I would if I were the head coach. Okay. Like I would be just very subtly trolling and having fun with it. But I probably can't coach football the way he does. I know, because I play college football online with people and I can't win games like he can. So anyways, all that to say, look, Harlem Berry is a very, very talented young back. He is a back who will get lucrative offers, guaranteed, if he enters the portal, and he's aware of that. He's a kid who very likely may have taken a pay cut to stay home. So, yeah, LSU is probably going to have to do some work to keep him. I would suggest that if Lane Kiffin's literally retweeting news about him going to Ole Miss, he's not doing that because he thinks he's going to Ole Miss. I would suggest that Lane is laughing at the notion and feels confident. I also have confidence on the Harlem Berry situation, but it's not a done deal yet. Frank Wilson going to Ole Miss, certainly. I understand Harlem Berry's father, Harry, he like went to high school with Frank Wilson and loves Frank Wilson, but you know, the Harlem Berry bleeds purple and gold, man. He absolutely bleeds it.
Let me ask you this. If you're Harlem Berry, if I'm talking to Harlem Berry right now, and you know, in a hypothetical world, I guess, if Kawan Lacey enters the portal, and if Kawan Lacey comes to LSU, you've seen how Lane Kiffin likes to divvy up those snaps. He's a one running back guy. When you look at what he did in 2025 with Kawan Lacey, he had 200 plus carries, and the second running back, Logan Diggs, ironically,
25.
had around 20 to 30 carries. So he's a one running back guy. If you're Harlem Berry, do you say, screw it? I believe purple and gold. I believe that if Lane Kiffin tells me that we can do a 2 running back system, we'll run a 2 running back system. Do you think that you stay and say, let's do this thing alongside Kawan Lacey? Or if I'm talking to you, Harlem Berry, do you say, you know what, maybe my better opportunity is elsewhere if Lacey, again, hypothetically, does make his way to Baton Rouge?
All right, so you mentioned 2025, which is great. You know what I did? I went and looked up 2024, okay? You know who had the second most carries outside of Jackson Dart that year? Ulysses Bentley. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, look, he had 84 carries, so 84, 130. Here's my thing. Number one, yes, Kevin Smith is a guy who likes to run his workhorse. He likes to get his best back out there and run him. By the way, that is what Kevin Smith was at UCF. He ran the ball like 40 times a game. If you go back, he was the NCAA rushing champion. But that being said, if you are good enough where you as a fresh back are better than the starter as a dog-tired back, I think you will get carries, and I think Harlem Berry's the kind of guy. I will also say this. I've been poking around the grapevine, and from everybody I know, Harlem Berry ain't scared of competition. Kewan Lacey coming to LSU, I do not think plays an impact in this decision. I think that they look at it, number one, you got to look logistically. He's a sophomore, not like a junior, right? So, you know, he has time to wait, and he has time to stay at his dream school and earn it at the dream school. And a lot of these guys have that mentality coming in. You know who tweeted just that this week? Jambari Mack, the wide receiver commit out of Destrehan, very highly talented guy. It's at Ole Miss and said, you should come to LSU, come to Ole Miss because you'll get to play right away. And he said, thanks, man, but I'd rather earn my way on the field at my dream school, LSU. You know how many players have that exact mindset? And I think I haven't like talked to Harlem Berry and asked him that direct question, but I bet you Harlem Berry has that same mindset. So I think things are good, but I think LSU needs to make sure they take care of business. You cannot lose Harlem Berry. even if you have Q1
Harlan
Lacey.
Berry too, Preston, is he's so damn versatile. I mean, he can catch the ball out of the backfield. You can line him up in the slot. Or you can do so many different things with him. So I think Harlan Berry, I think the world of him. Obviously, this is a 5-star, #1 running back in America type of guy. And then you give a better offensive line in 2026 as well. I think this is a guy who could obviously just crush it. I think Harlem is fantastic. And like you said, bleeds purple and gold. And I think even if you do utilize, again, in a hypothetical world, if Lacey does come to LSU, nothing is given in this world. Ole Miss is, of course, going to try to offer a bag to keep him. But if they do bring him in, man, you can use Harlan Berry in so many different ways. I think it's going to be really unique to see how all of this unfolds. But at the end of the day, I'm with you. And I don't think it's a done deal yet. But I would love to see Harlan Berry remain here in Baton Rouge. Like, this is a guy who, like you said, has 3 more years of eligibility, and he'll cook.
All right, let's do another comparison here. 2023, their running back was Quinshawn Judkins. He had 271 carries. Can you guess what the number 2 back had in carries?
What was it?
Ulysses Bentley, 95. I mean, look, if you get 95 carries next year, that's not a bad sophomore campaign, like, at all.
It's less than his true freshman campaign. He had like 106 this year.
Well, is that true?
Yeah, he had 100 plus carries this year, I think.
Harlem.
That's the only reason why I sit back and kind of, think about it a little bit.
He did have 104 carries. Yeah, he also had about 500 yards. But yeah,
he balled. I mean, he was awesome.
It was pretty good. He should have had a lot more, I'll tell you that much.
And that is what I was hoping you would say when I said that, because we like to talk about these rotations. Man,
it just felt like a lot less.
Yeah.
It felt like he had freaking 5 carries a game. It really did. But I guess there were games where he got more carries. But anyways, yeah, I think if you have Harlan Berry and Q1 Lacey, I think you have the best 1-2 punch in the country next year.
No doubt. No doubt.
And I think you will find a way to get both on the field. I think they will both help you win football games next year. In fact, I would argue that'd be LSU's best top 2 running backs since Fournette and Geis. Another big topic here. Shameless waiver denied. Nothing's been official on that. And at least I haven't seen. I mean, I'm always afraid to make a confirmation of news like that, because what if something came out in the last 45 minutes? Because that's the kind of world we're in. Are you checking that, making sure nothing's official on that? But here's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing it's a real tricky battle. Number one, the factor is the NCAA in recent years, basically, if you ask nicely, they've been giving you that 6th, 7th, 8th year eligibility, whatever, if you ask nicely, right? I have a sob story. But I am hearing that Trinidad Shameless, basically, there was a year where he basically just didn't play, but it wasn't. They're trying to argue he was injured, but then there's documentation and the fact that he was at Ferris State, D2 school, where they don't really have a ton of great documentation is playing a role.
Weird. It was a really weird situation, Preston. This is a guy, he took a true red shirt, but he's trying to apply for a medical red shirt for when he had this upper respiratory thing and he needed to get his tonsils taken out. And he missed the entire year, didn't play the entire year. So it's a super tricky situation for the NCAA. And I mean,
but I'm hearing there's not great documentation on it. Is that what you're hearing?
That's what pretty much Tom Mars is his lawyer. He hired.
Okay, Tom Mars is a big name lawyer.
Yeah,
though. So he tends to get what he wants.
That's the guy who's saying all of these things. This is not coming from me. This is just what he's put out there, and he put it out in an ESPN article where they sourced him and whatnot. So it's a pretty unique situation. Obviously, he applied for it in November, and we are near January, and there's no buzz yet on it. So I would say that they're still trying to gather more information to do it. I think it depends on who you talk to. Some people are more optimistic. Some people are more pessimistic and who I've spoken to about it. I personally think it's going to be a unique situation regardless. But boy, is he pushing, and they are trying to get more documentation, like you said. It's going to be extremely fascinating to watch unfold. But the way he's trying to apply for it, I mean, it makes sense if you're trying to apply for that medical red shirt, if it was true in that way. So a really weird situation for Trinidad. And this is a guy, obviously, who finished top 10 in the Heisman Trophy voting. So he's more than deserving.
No doubt.
Of
no doubt. I'll also say this. Ole Miss media are publicly coming out and saying that if that waiver is approved, it is, and I'm quoting, most likely he returns to Ole Miss. Now, I am not endorsing that. I am not condoning that. I'm just telling you what Ole Miss media, I'm not talking about like on a paywall message board. I'm talking like on twitter.com. Their insiders are saying that that's the most likely resolution. Now, I imagine LSU will be very interested in Trinidad Shameless because regardless, LSU needs a 1-year paid assassin, right? LSU needs a quarterback bad.
I like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's true. It's exactly what the position LSU's in because they do not have a quarterback. Now, you're at the point where you really want Michael Van Buren recruited to stay as a backup. That being said, I mean, I don't think he's necessarily the answer for next year. I think he had some serious accuracy issues. I think there were some serious issues, and I don't know that the issues I saw are something where like, you know, Charlie Weiss and Lane Kiffin can just coach it and make it better. I think you need a Trinidad Shameless, and you need a quarterback for the now, a quarterback for the future, and a reserve.
I'm right there with you.
Minimum.
I'm not going to sit back and say that Michael Van Buren should be, if he returns, I'm not going to sit back and say he should be QB3 on this roster. But if we're talking QB 2A and 2B, for me, he'd probably be QB 2B. I think there's a lot of development that needs to be worked out for him. And Dane Stevens, obviously coming in as the new quarterbacks coach, can do that with him.
Bright young mind, by the way.
But I'll tell you what, I think you go and obviously get 2 quarterbacks and see how this works out. Me, personally, I like North Carolina true freshman Bryce Baker. This is a guy who LSU recruited extremely aggressively last year once they missed out on Bryce Underwood. He redshirted this year. He'll have 4 seasons of eligibility. This is a true bridge quarterback, a guy that's going to take time to develop. I'd be intrigued to see which direction they go in, but I think that's going to be a guy who could really try to find a good landing spot, and I'd really like to see LSU push, but who knows?
Oh, but he is entering the portal. He announced that last week, so that is good news. Yeah. And there's a lot of guys who fit the bill. The Cincinnati guy, Sorsby, he'd be fantastic. I wouldn't mind, dude. I was watching the North Texas Bowl game on right before LSU. Dude, Drew Mestamaker, that guy can sling it around. Now, I get fit. He doesn't move well. I'm just saying, I was like, man, compared to what we saw LSU have this year, I mean, whew.
Oh, he can sling it. He can sling it.
What a fun offense to watch. Eric Morris and company. I think Oklahoma State's going to have a good time watching that offense.
Part of me thinks, Preston, that LSU's next quarterback might not be in the portal yet. I think a lot of people are talking about a lot of different names.
It's very well, like Shameless isn't in the portal. Bryce Underwood.
Part of me doesn't think that LSU's next quarterback is in the portal yet. I think this is about to be a really fun next week plus.
My dream scenario would be a guy like a Trinidad Shameless. You get what I'm saying? That 1 year ready to play, plug and play assassin, right? And then like a DJ Wagway as your developmental backup quarterback, and then either keep Van Buren there as your QB3 or like pull in like an AJ Swan type player. You get what I mean? Like you need a third emergency quarterback. Like college football teams do not operate with 2 quarterbacks on roster. That's too risky. You can lose 2 quarterbacks like that, man. It's not hard to do. And I don't think you want to roll out there with a walk-on. I'm going to a quick ad break, and then we'll be back. I'm going down y'all's comments. We're going to continue rolling with it. Y'all been feeding me some good talking points, so that's just what we're going to continue rolling with here, okay? Guys, Lane Kiffin has a lot of work to do to get this program wired for success, but you have almost no work to get your home wired for success. Dykes Electrical is the official electrical company of TigerBait.com. Whether you need the lights on in Tiger Stadium or just a humble TigerBait studio like the one behind me, Dykes is wired for success. 10-story office building, they can wire that. 200 square foot warehouse, they can wire that. Expanding your existing commercial building, they can wire that. Changing out a breaker, electrical panel, or just a receptacle in your home or office, guess what? They can wire that. Or if you're upgrading the lighting in your home office or studio, they can wire that. Give them a call today at the number on your screen, 225-216-9180, for a free estimate on your project. Make sure to let them know that TigerBait sent you in. Guys, all TigerBait live shows this year are proudly brought to you this football season by Struby's Seafood and Steaks. Located on 107 3rd Street in downtown Baton Rouge, Struby's prides itself on providing a 5-star dining experience for a reasonable price. Struby's is locally owned with ownership in the building, taking a level of pride in their food daily. that you just don't see from any old corporate establishment, right? Struby's features a full menu of specialty meats, including USDA prime black Angus steaks, 100% certified Wagyu New York strip. And for those looking for something outside of red meat, they offer items such as the dry aged pork chop, black truffle, lobster, pasta, redfish, and plenty more. Book your reservation online tonight at strubys.com. Make sure to let them know that TigerBait sent you in. And guys, y'all see all the great gear behind me. I have that visor. I have the Lane Train shirt I unveiled on the post-game show. I have the sticker, guys. Alumni Hall is the best place to get all your licensed LSU gear, whether it's Nike, Champion, Johnny O, On Reserve, Peter Millar, Southern Tide hats, Yetis, gifts, accessories, guys. The lava lamp behind me, that's a cool touch from Alumni Hall. Guys, shop at their store at Perkins Row anytime at alumnihall.com. I have a discount code for you. TigerBait, all one word, TigerBait. You're going to get 10% off your purchase. That's online or in store. Y'all go check them out. They got a great management, great team. Been meeting with all of them. Free shipping on all orders over $99, and they're shipping from Louisiana, so it's going to come in quicker. Matt, Zach, you know who had a great game in the bowl game?
Big Trade as Green, baby.
Big Trade as Green. And you know what? Guys, when you're looking to shop your next vehicle, make sure you support a local dealership that supports the Tigers. Matt Bowers Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram on Airline Highway near Behringer Foreman in Baton Rouge has an awesome NIL deal with LSU tight end Trade as Green. You simply cannot beat their quality service. They include a lifetime powertrain warranty on all new vehicles. Shop them online today at mattpowerscdjr.com.
What's up, Tiger Nation? It's Trade as Green. Go see my friend Matt Bowers when you need your next ride.
Get Matt's lifetime powertrain warranty included with every new vehicle purchase.
Shop smart. Buy local. Matt Bowers, CDJR, Baton Rouge.
What a guy, Trade as. You got to do what it takes to keep Trade as Green. You got to do what it takes. And by the way, his performance in the bowl game is going to make that more difficult.
I agree with you. I mean, I also love what Lane Kiffin does when it comes to these tight ends. What he's done this year with Daquan Wright has been fantastic. I think you put Trade as Green in a Lane Kiffin system. My God.
I don't know that Lane Kiffin would use him as a true tight end.
He's a pass catcher, dude. I don't consider him a tight end myself. He's a true pass catcher who can line up as a wideout. You put him in this system, he's going to dominate. He's going to dominate.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think he's a guy you have to keep, and you have to fit your system to him. And I do know Lane Kiffin's offense is creative enough to get a guy like 6'7" Trade as Green, freak of athlete, involved. Let's take a few more comments in here. Phil and Tiffany Goday. How much would it cost to get Underwood? Boy, I guess that depends on how much of a pay cut is he willing to take, because he's locked into an extremely lucrative deal at Michigan. There's no buyout if he wants to leave, which is good. But, I mean, how much money is he willing to take to leave that? Because nobody's going to pay him what he's getting in Michigan, like $4 or $5 million a year, no, especially after the season he just had.
The numbers are all over the place. I mean, I've seen that it's about $3 million a year. But it varies. I mean, it depends on what you see and what you read and what kind of you talk to and stuff. I mean, I think if it is $3 million, I think that's just the going rate right now for whoever LSU gets in the portal. Would I necessarily pay $3 million for Bryce Underwood? I'm not the one calling those shots.
I have heard anywhere, and by the way, it's a 4-year deal that's guaranteed for him, and all the money's guaranteed. I have heard that it's anywhere from 12 to 20 million, right? And it is fully guaranteed no matter what. All he has to do is not enter the portal, and that is guaranteed, right? So the issue is that, LSU might end up paying $3 million for a quarterback, but that would be number one for a guy who's proven to be capable, ready to win right now. And number two would be a 1-year deal. You don't have to commit multi-years of resources into it, right? It'd be like let's just say it's a $12 million deal. So to get him to leave, it'd be like $9 million. Right. Versus like, okay, let's say you give $3 million to Trinidad Chambliss. All you have to do, he only has 1 year. So just commit $3 million to him. Right. So I would argue to get in that conversation, minimum, you're talking 2.5 a year.
Yeah, I agree with
minimum. I do not think you will get Bryce Underwood. And the sad part is his play on the field was not $2.5 million play.
Agreed.
Not even close.
Also letting everybody know Malcolm has been muted. I've seen a lot of people have been complaining about
look at my guy admitting the chat. Let's see here. Was I surprised with who they hired as coach? Since we're on the Bryce Underwood topic. No, in fact, when I saw Kyle Whittingham It's a strange situation. He was like getting pushed out, but he went 10-2 this year. When I saw he wasn't at Utah anymore and I saw the situation Michigan was in, I said, that's a godsend for Michigan. Like, and look, talk about fit. The fit might not be perfect. Okay. But this guy's a very long established track record of winning football at a place that doesn't have a winning history. Okay. Now, Michigan and Utah are very different jobs, but regardless, if Michigan were to go out and hire a coach, they'd probably be talking about guys similar to him. I mean, if it wasn't going to be Kyle Whittingham, I mean, what would they? I don't think they were getting Kalen DeBoer, right?
I think the only name for me that I would have fallen in love with for Michigan is Kenny Dillingham. Other than that, pick your poison. There were some worthy candidates out there. Of course, like you just said, Preston, Kalen DeBoer was another one. But for me, if you weren't getting DeBoer or Kenny Dillingham, then kind of pick your poison in that regard. But again, I think Dillingham would have been a home run. I think you give him the NIL resources that they have, and it would have been pretty scary. But it's clear. I mean, he wants to be over there in Tempe, and he wants to be with Arizona State and by his family and build that program up. But I'll tell you what, man, if he would have gotten himself out there with Michigan, I think that would have been a match made in heaven.
My assumption is they swung and missed on Dillingham because Dillingham
I'm right there with you.
A bigger name than whatever. But I mean, also, Dillingham's sitting here talking about trying to get Arizona billionaires invested. Like, he's like, I know someone has $20 million out there. We're in Phoenix. That wouldn't be a problem at Michigan. The billionaires are lined up ready to roll. So anyways, Matt, what was Malcolm spouting in the chat? I'm just going through and seeing a ton of violence. What's going on here? Oh my God. These comments are unhinged. Just his reaction. Let's see here. And this is another valid comment. He wasn't happy with the system there. Well, it is a more offensive friendly, but that was what was known all along when Bryce Underwood was going to Michigan. It was known that, hey man, they're a run the ball system. This is not an offense that is predicated for quarterback friendly, but the money was there. He's a local kid. It is what it is, man. Let's see here. Boy, someone has a... Let's see here.
Can I answer this one real quick while you find one?
Go ahead, pop it up.
Did Van Buren redshirt this year? No, he didn't. And this was the hot topic. This was one where if it were me, I personally would have redshirted, obviously. But he sat down and had a conversation with Frank Wilson. He wanted to sit back and represent the university and play for LSU, and you have to give him his flowers for that. LSU would have obviously been in a pretty significant bind if they didn't have him. But nonetheless, he burnt his year of eligibility and suited up for LSU, and now kind of we'll see what the future holds for him. But nonetheless, kudos to MVB for sticking it out.
I bet say I respect him for what he did. Now, I wasn't super impressed with his play, but I was super impressed with his, I'm going to go play. I'm a football player. I play football. I respect it. All right, Kenny Como. Again, O-line, most important thing. Look, here's the deal. O-line is important. Kenny, you do not have a quarterback. You have one quarterback on roster currently. It's MVB. Okay. Quarterback is number one for this team. You need 3 portal quarterbacks, 3 of them. Okay. Let's take this. Why don't we just take a just real brief overview of what are the needs for LSU? Let's start with quarterback. Quarterback MVB. That's it. Hurley's in the portal. Nussmeier's gone.
Preston, I'm almost to the point where O-line and quarterback might be 1A, 1B. You have absolutely nothing in the trenches right now. They have you, me, and Mike sitting out there getting ready for 2026 Clemson week 1. Like, it is 1A, 1B. You have
They have 6 offensive linemen in the portal.
And that is unbelievable.
I'm going to have to sort this probably by number because the way they have their offensive line. So I'm trying to pull up their roster here. And
I'm surprised Weston Davis hasn't entered it yet.
Yeah, I'm surprised he hadn't entered the portal yet. But I think that's one where people would be like, it'd almost be like Sage Ryan status where they're like, yes, I'm relieved, But they need someone to play offensive line.
Like his PFF, I'm not a big PFF grade guy. Well, I only use it really if it fits my agenda. So this time it does fit my agenda. They steadily increased towards the back end of the year. He improved a little bit. So who knows
what they say about Bauer Sharp?
Hey, not great things. Not bad.
Boy, what? And he was really good fall camp. I was impressed with Bauer Sharp, but I mean, my God, he just played poorly, very poorly this season. Okay. All right. Offensive lineman, Ethan Callaway, still on roster, right? And I'm having to double check because there's so many flipping names in the portal here. Yeah, Ethan Callaway still on roster. Okay. Weston Davis still on roster.
Right.
Solomon Thomas, the 5-star guy who redshirted, quiet year this year. You really want to keep him, by the way.
Yeah.
Still the talent's there. Ori Williams in the portal. So let's see. We're at 1, 2, 3 linemen left. Let's see here. Bo Bordelon hasn't entered the portal yet, as far as I know. So that's what?
Both of them. Both
Four.
borderline.
Yeah, well, Brett and Bo. Yeah, so 5, 6, and those are LSU legacy guys. You would hope that you'd be good. Although Bo Bordelon is going to be a senior next year, and he hasn't really been consistently on the field. So you have to start wondering if maybe a smaller school may be what's best for him. I'd say he's a threat to leave. Let's see here. DJ Chester is in the portal. I think that's a name a lot of fans were like, yes. Cohen Coles is in the portal. Carius Kern, and that's the one that really stings because he showed good promise. He is in the portal. Kari Lee still here, so we're at what, 6? Braylon Moore hasn't said he's leaving yet. That's good news. 7. Mabinga in the portal. Josh Thompson, he's gone, and that's it. You have, is that 7 offensive linemen I counted? Yeah, you need 6 or 7 offensive linemen.
Yeah. Like I'm sitting back and it's pretty brutal at this point when you talk about your needs. Quarterback, obviously number 1, but O-line is right there, 1B.
Yeah.
I mean, and the thing for me, Preston, is how much quality is there going to be in the portal? Like how many big time guys can you go out there and get? Because you need depth. You need guys in the 2 deep. You don't just need to go out there and get big time splash guys to start. You got to go out there and get some guys to fill out this.
You need 4 starting offensive linemen.
Yeah.
And probably at 3 for depth, right?
Yeah.
And that's assuming no more enter. Because look, if Bo Bordelon is gone, that you're down to 6. You really need 15 offensive linemen, if we're just being honest. I mean, a minimum of 12. I mean, you can't just not have a 3rd string offensive line or a 3rd string with walk-ons. Right. I mean, you need more bodies than that. But in my opinion, I believe a big part of why. Oh, Tyree Adams, by the way. That's a guy who legitimately hurts too, because he did show promise. He wasn't great for LSU this year, but I think he showed promise where he could be developed into something. Certainly showed measurables, but I think that guy hurts. I think a lot of what it is, if I had to guess, probably a lot of these guys are being told, look, man, you could come back, but we're just not going to give you whatever NIL money because look at what the results were this year. And a lot of them are saying, well, screw this. I'm out. That's just my guess. Nobody's told me. I'm just reading the writing on the wall and, speculating accordingly. Real quick, guys, I'm going to get to my last ad spot and then we're going to continue breaking down the roster needs. It's almost all going to be offense. I mean, defense is actually not in bad shape, but offensively, we're going to... Oh boy, Lane Kiffin has a big job ahead of him. It's like the offense was so bad this year, LSU went and bought the best offensive minds they could possibly buy, right? But the best brunch you can possibly buy, that's going to be at Capital City Grill on a good Sunday morning, guys. One thing we try to do with all our TigerBait sponsors is partner with locally owned businesses we've experienced firsthand, and we know we can endorse to provide an outstanding experience for our listener. Cavity Seal Grill fits that role perfectly. Located 100 Lafayette Street in downtown Baton Rouge. Guys, they're your ideal lunch and dining experience for a casual downtown dining experience. Capital City Grill features a variety of sandwiches, burgers, seafood, pastas, and steaks, with almost everything priced at $30 or below for a more affordable experience. Don't forget to celebrate the Tigers win at their Sunday morning brunch, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Book your reservation online at capitalcitygrill.net. Make sure to let them know TigerBait sent you in. And guys, our friends Genesis of Lafayette have all sorts of incredible deals going on right now. You can see on your screen. These rates are just not going to beat in this market, guys. Genesis of Lafayette, the premier luxury dealership offering the finest cars and SUVs in the region, coupled with the best service anywhere. Genesis of Lafayette has a huge inventory of new and certified pre-owned Genesis vehicles for truly first-class automotive experiences. Genesis of Lafayette, 6600 Johnston Street. Here to exceed your expectations. Genesis of Lafayette. Shop us online at genesisoflafayette.com or give them a call, 877-856-2961. Let them know TigerBait sent you in. Level up your performance with peptide therapy from Rejuvenate Medical. Boost recovery, energy, lean muscle the smart way. Feel the difference today. Visit rejuvenatemedical.com.
I've noticed that my mental clarity is better. I'm able to focus more. My energy levels are up, and I bounce back in the gym more like I'm in my 20s and 30s. I feel like myself again, stronger, sharper, and ready to take on anything.
Bay's Oyster Bar. Boy, Lane Kiffin tweeted out another oyster bar the other day he went to. I want him to go to Bay's Oyster Bar to get some real good oysters, guys. Is now open in downtown Baton Rouge. They're serving up the freshest farm-raised oysters from Grand Isle. No mud, no grit, just clean, delicious flavor. Not into oysters? Swap in boiled shrimp or try their turkey brie and bacon sandwich. Or even try a classic roast beef po' boy. They will be featuring a bar. They're featuring a bar full with fully stocked, top-notch bourbon, whiskey, craft beer. Don't miss out on Baton Rouge's newest oyster spot. Make sure to let them know TigerBait sent you in. All right, continuing. Let me see if I got any interesting comments here. We got someone calling Lane a dirty word in the comments. I'm gonna be monitoring that. See if we need to get another band hammer going. Do we see 6'7" JD LaFleur emerge next season? It's a good question. I'm not sure is the answer. I'm not sure. I will say he's more similar to the tight end builds that Lane Kiffin has typically had. Lane Kiffin actually uses tight end to block a little bit more of a true tight end. I think Trey'Dez Green would be in for like a role change. I think they would split him out a bunch and use him as a freak, like a jump ball expert. David Mitchell brings up a good point. Anything Lane does, I mean, you can only go up. You can't go down from where they've been this year. That's a fact. That's a name I've not heard in a long time. Any idea on how Lance Hurd's doing at Tennessee? I don't know. I haven't checked in on that in a while. Much. Yeah. Okay. All right. Sorry. It's a rare. I don't know. I can't watch everybody play ball all year long, but I'll tell you what, I will check into that. And I'll see if he's interested in entering the portal, because my God, that'd be a good one to bring back. If I do know he had a very rough sophomore season. I know that for a fact, but I'll check in on that. We'll address that at a later show. But good name drop there, buddy. And that's the harsh reality about a lot of this portal talk, is you're going to name a lot of guys where it's like, I'm not on that beat. I don't know. We have to look into it. Kenny Como says he did okay. Hey, look, okay would be a colossal improvement at LSU at this point, guys. I think if he's there, we'll see. Ask P&Z. Has Ole Miss has never had a 4 or 5-star O-line, but are they very effective? It's all about scheme. Well, scheme does help your O-line a bunch. It helps your O-line tremendously.
They've had some decent guys. I'm pretty sure they even got Devin Harper last year. I mean, that's a 4-star guy from Louisiana.
Yeah.
They've had some guys. So, I'm not going to say they haven't ever had a 4-star go out there to Ole Miss. I mean, Devin Harper.
They've had 5 stars. What's the guy who got caught smoking a bong right on the NFL draft day?
Oh my God, I remember that.
Laramie Tunsil.
They've had guys, but it's definitely about scheme, and it's all about what Charlie Weiss can do, and it's all about what Lane Kiffin can do. And lucky for LSU, you got both of them on your team in 2025 or 2026 rather. So you're going to be in a really good spot, and you got to go and get some dudes out of this portal too. You got to get some quality pieces to block, because like a comment a couple minutes ago said, you can't run, you can't pass, you can't do anything.
Can't do nothing, man.
The next 2 to 3 week period.
Yeah. I'll say this, the O-line coach at Ole Miss is a stud, very strong reputation. They were very happy to keep him. Eric Wolford, I don't know if I'm sold on him yet. He'll have to earn my favor for me to get a blessing to him, but based on his body of work from Alabama and Kentucky, I don't know. He's got a colossal job ahead of him. That's all I'll say. The good news for him is can't get much worse. Can't get much worse than this offensive line. It is absolutely putrid what we've seen. Let's go through some offensive positions here. Wide receiver, Aaron Anderson gone. Nick Anderson, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, he certainly didn't have as productive of a year as you would have liked, right? And particularly, I don't think he was very good in big body goal line situations as he should have been this year, right? Kylan Billiot, he gone. He in the portal. Barryon Brown, graduating. Teron Francis, that's a guy I think you'd really like to keep. I'd really like to see him with a couple years development. Destin Hill should be back. Chris Hilton, out of eligibility. Kyle Parker. A lot of people, when I talked about the must-haves, those 3 must-have guys, they wanted me to throw Kyle Parker in there. Zach, are you in the Kyle Parker's in the same category as Harlem Berry and Trades Green ship yet?
I want to keep Kyle Parker. I think a lot of people like him too. And Preston, when you're going through this roster right now, I'm pretty sure off the top of my head, the only wide receivers that you have on roster from 2025 are Teron Francis, Phillip Wright, Kyle Parker, Nick Anderson, and I'm missing one. There's 5 of them. So you don't have.
There's 5. Okay, so you already have the numbers. 5 is what I was at 3. Destin Hill. That's
the last one. So you don't have very many pieces coming back. Kylan Billiot and Jelani Watkins are out to the portal. You lose a ton of guys, obviously, to the NFL draft as well. Aaron Anderson skipping his last year of eligibility. So you lose a lot, and that's where it's going to get really fun in the portal. Do they go get Winnie Watkins from Ole Miss? This is a guy who's pretty attached to Lane Kiffin. And I would like to assume in the back of my mind that I think
LSU's in good shape for him
and get his way down to Baton Rouge. So when you look at the wide receiver room as a whole, you have 5 guys right now that are coming back, and then you got your signees: Jabari Mack, Corey Barber, and of course Braden Allen. So those are 8 guys, not a lot of experience.
Of those 3, which do you think is the most
that are pretty much redshirt freshmen or freshmen? So it's going to be interesting to watch how that unfolds. Really a lot of youngsters. You need to go get a true wide receiver 1 and a couple other pieces too.
Which one of those freshmen do you think is most plug and play ready?
Yeah, it's Jabari Mack.
Okay, all right, I'm on the same page.
And really because of the amount of weight that he's put on over these last couple of years, his lower body strength is significant. He had a pretty good senior campaign, really blew up, obviously, as a junior. But I'm pretty high on Jabari Mack. I think that he'll flourish in Lane Kiffin's system. It might not be year 1. He might not necessarily plug and play of a long term. I think he's going to be a good fit for LSU.
Can I tease another name for you?
What you got?
I don't want to get the chat too hyped up here, but Cameron Coleman is entering the portal. Auburn wide receiver. Thoughts on him?
Yeah, I mean, he's a beast. I think if somebody doesn't think he's a top 5 wide receiver in the country, I think that they're probably wrong based off my opinion. I think he's a top 5 wideout in college football. He just didn't have the opportunity to showcase it all in a struggling Auburn offense. I think Cam Coleman, this is a 6'3", 210-pound monster, and he's going to command $1.5 million to $2 million is what I would think in this portal market. Will it be Bama, A&M, LSU, Texas? Who's going to try to offer him the biggest bag? Because it's going to be a bidding war. But I'd love to see LSU try to get involved there because this guy is an absolute demon.
It would solve a ton of your problems just right there, right off the bat, man. But yeah, you're thin at wide receiver. And guys, guess what? We're going to move on to another position group, and we'll call the last position group of the night running back. Guess what? You're also thin at running back. So obviously LSU, right now there's 2 running backs on roster, Caden Durham and Harlem Berry, right? So not only do you really need Harlem Berry from a talent perspective, but you need him from a depth perspective. Like you need bodies. You have to have at least 4 running backs, right? There's just a certain amount of players you need to run a college system in a season. 4 is the number for running back, and that's minimum. You really want more. That being said, Caden Durham moving into his junior season, if you bring in a guy like Kewan Lacey and Harlem Berry stays, what's the writing on the wall say for Caden Durham?
Yeah, he would ultimately leave, and that'd be a shame. This is a guy, I mean, he's a Tiger LSU tattoo on him. I mean, this is a guy who wanted to be here, loves LSU. But if you go and get a guy like Kewan Lacey, the writing's on the wall, like you said. You're right on the money with that, Preston.
So my point is, you need to bring in at least 2 or 3 running backs right now. And of course that's including Kewan Lacey, right? The good news is on that front, you could go with young depth pieces. By the way, did not sign a running back this year. You didn't sign a quarterback or a running back this year, which is like, but that's part of why the offensive staff and responsible for that are no longer employed at Louisiana State University because that's terminable for a lot of reasons. I'd say this: if you could get JT Lindsey and or Trey Holly worked out legally, That would help with that situation. But as it stands, there's been no resolution. So a lot of work to do. Maybe next week we'll focus a little more on the defensive side of the ball, but that's a shorter conversation. You need a couple veterans basically at every group, basically. You need, particularly defensive line. I think Mike says you need a whole new defensive line in the portal. I said, dude, you need 2 veterans. Which side are you on that?
It's tough. I mean, we'll see what happens with Dominic McKinley. Obviously, his brother.
That's a big one, no doubt.
So you got to
Gabe Relaford. He's coming back.
You got to see what happens with the rest of this.
That's a starter.
D-line for sure. Definitely. We'll see how it transpires. I definitely think you got to go get at least probably 3 guys out there.
2 veterans. Y'all, we'll be back next week. I will be at the Sugar Bowl on New Year's Day this week. I'll be going and covering it. I have a press credential. It'll be interesting for me going to a game where I'm not writing a story or doing a post-game show, but I will be live chronicling it on Twitter, and I'll be live updating it on the TigerBait forum, right? I will also be doing post-game interviews. I'm going to try my best to get as many either LSU coaches or LSU players targets. Like I'm going to try to interview Chambliss and Keywan Lacey and all these guys we've been talking about to see, and I'm going to have to be respectful of it, but it'll be a fun assignment. So y'all keep tuned with that. Also, remember we missed last week's show. We're going to do an impromptu show. I don't want to schedule it. I thought about doing it on the 2nd on Friday, just doing a nightly show and recap day 1 of the portal. But then the thought hit me, what if no players commit to LSU on day 1? Then we're just sitting here twiddling our thumbs talking about all the players who are officially entering it. I kind of want to wait to see some big boom. So I don't want to say exactly what it's going to be, but I'm pretty sure when we see the boom, we'll know. Is that going to be Keywan Lacey? Is that going to be your assassin quarterback? I don't know, but we're going to have some fun with it. We'll do a big live show. It'll be big, exciting. So because I don't have a set time for that, hit the bell, get the notifications for the live show. Zach, do you cover LSU and Ole Miss? Obviously, that saga is going to be continuing. Tell them what you've got going on and where the people can keep up with your stuff.
Yeah, man, it's a crazy time being on both sides of this. It's been a pretty ridiculous last, let's say, 7 to 8 weeks. But moving forward, obviously, Ole Miss on that side of things, they're punched their ticket to the Sugar Bowl with a chance to reach the college football playoff semifinals. Big one this week, of course, against Georgia. It'll be fun. We got some people asking predictions in there. In the chat, I think Georgia might ultimately get it, but Ole Miss is going to put up a fight. Keywan Lacey and Trinidad Chambliss is obviously a fantastic 1-2 punch. It's going to be a really good game. And then, of course, my primary beat is LSU, man. And you can always find me on Twitter at ZNAE20. And then the LSU page, we're cranking out a bunch of transfer portal stuff right now. These next 2 weeks are going to be pretty fun. So obviously make sure to tune in to LSU Tigers SI. And then TigerBait, man, they've got you plugged over there, of course, for all the transfer portal buzz. So it's going to be a pretty fun week, a pretty fun next couple of weeks, rather.
I'm also going with the Dogs, but I think it's close by like a touchdown. I think because it was a close game last time. Ole Miss had them on the ropes. And, frankly, most of the infrastructure that Lane Kiffin put in place is still there. So I think it will be a good game. I do roll with the Dogs in that game. It is going to be more fun. They don't have to go to Athens this time. It will be probably 60% Ole Miss fans because it's geographically closer to Ole Miss at the Superdome. We will see. It should be fun. But regardless, y'all make sure to check it out. We'll be right here, ready for anything that happens. Y'all have a great night. And if we don't see you until then, have a happy new year, guys.